Hey guys, so today I have swatches of the OPI Celebration collection for holiday 2021. There's some hollows, there's some glitter, there's some creams, but there are 15 polishes here all together. I ordered these from polishpick.com a while ago, but they are pretty much everywhere by now. It's been out for a little while. So anyway, 15 polishes here all together, and I will get into the swatches. So the first polish is called Snow Day in LA, and OPI describes this as a pearly white. I think it's like more white than pearly. It seems to be like a very creamy white with a little bit of a pearly shimmer to it, not like an extremely sheer, streaky pearl finish polish, if that makes any sense. So if my nails are looking a little rough, I am in the middle of like a major swatchathon and they're not used to this kind of swatching. It's been a really long time and they're looking a little rough. They're feeling a little rough. So the shimmer in here stands out pretty well. It's pretty opaque on that first coat and not a lot of brush strokes through the shimmer either. While I say it's pretty opaque, I could still see myself needing 3 coats here. I did do 3 for my swatch photos. So this one does cover pretty well on that second coat. I'm expecting to need 3. The first coat did dry pretty sheer. Once it dried all the way though, I did see quite a bit of that pearl finish coming out that wasn't there when it was wet. It does go on a little bit streaky, but as it dried, this kind of evened out. Not completely, but for the most part. So I'm adding my third coat here. I definitely still had some bald spots and a few streaks that I wanted to cover up. I'm not usually a big fan of things with like this kind of pearly finish, but this actually looks really nice. It's the base, the white base is just opaque enough that when the shimmer comes through, it's just very glowy and not like extremely shimmery. So it's more of a subtle shimmer and I like it. I mean, it's not my favorite, but I like it. So I let this dry completely. If I stick my face like right next to my nails, I can still see a few streaks and a few bald spots. But some of those little flaws, even though they're super minor, would bother me a little bit if I wore this out like this, especially like on the side of my pinky finger and on my ring finger here. I know I'm the only one that would notice them, but it would bother me. So I'm not sure. I feel like I would put something over this, like put a glitter topper or something over it to cover that up. Anyway, I guess I'm super conflicted about this one, but that is 3 coats of Snow Day in LA. The next polish is called Big Bow Energy, and this is just a bright pink cream. I know when I had all the holiday collections lined up, these two kind of stood out to me because it's both bright pinks. This is All Dolled Up from the Essie Winter Collection. If you're trying to compare the two, All Dolled Up is a little bit lighter of a pink. Not by much, but it is lighter. So this one has a nice even coverage on that first coat. It feels really good on the nails as well. And I believe I did 3 coats for my swatch photos, but I'm not sure if I'll actually need 3 here for the video. I know I've said this before, but I always add a 3rd coat to photos because I never know if something's going to show up more sheer than it looked to me in person. So this one is looks like it's going to cover completely for me in 2 coats. It didn't really have too many streaks or dark spots on that first coat. I just wanted a little bit better overall coverage, I guess. So that is 2 coats of Big Bow Energy. This next polish is called All Is Berry and Bright, and this is a cool purple cream. And pretty good coverage on this on the first coat as well. The same as that pink shade, it has a really nice smooth feel on the nails. It goes on really well. A few streaks there on my middle finger. I did a little bit thinner of a coat, but this should have no problem covering in 2. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. The color dries a little bit darker than it applies, or than it looks in the bottle. And I think I only did 2 for my photos here because this is a pretty solid 2-coater. I was confident that this one wouldn't show anything weird in the pictures. So that is 2 coats of All Is Berry and Bright. The next polish is called Ring In the Blue Year, and this is a really nice bright blue cream. And this is really my color. I love shades like this. This one almost has a little bit of a jelly-like quality to it, but still covers well. It goes on very evenly. It has a little bit of that weird smell that these shades can sometimes get. I don't know, something with the pigment smells a little funky. It's pretty minor in this one, but I did notice it like as soon as I opened the bottle. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. I will say, hopefully you can see the difference, it does seem to dry a little bit darker than it applies, which is kind of a bummer for me because I like that really striking blue shade. But once that second coat is on there and everything's built up, it's not the end of the world. I just get very picky about this type of shade because it's my favorite. So that is 2 coats of Ring in the Blue Year. The next polish is called Maraschino Cheer-y, and this is a deeper red cream. So this actually comes off much more jelly-like than cream. So it's got that slightly squishy look to it, but it should still build up fine. And it's pretty even as well. So this one does build up nicely on that second coat. I didn't really have any nail lines showing. The color was just like obviously a little bit lighter than it was supposed to be. It looks pretty even here in 2 coats. So that is 2 coats of Maraschino Cheer-y. The next polish is called OPI Love To Party, and this is a deep eggplant cream. This one covers pretty well in the first coat as well. A little bit sheer, but even. And for some reason I always end up doing a thinner coat on my second finger. And I definitely only did 2 for my photos with this one. So this one does cover completely on that second coat. This is a very deep, very dark color, but I wouldn't say that it's so dark that it would be confused for black. I think it's a pretty clear purple. Definitely in the sun, but in indoor lighting as well. I don't think that it would come off black. So that is 2 coats of OPI Love To Party. Okay, moving on to, for me anyway, the more exciting part of this collection. There are 6 holographic shades and then 3 glitters as well. So this first one is called Mylar Dreams. This is a bright pink holographic. It does have that nice linear holographic to it, but it also has a slight little scattering of what look to me like little silver flakies. And the coverage on these is really good across the board. I only did 2 coats for all of my photos. And you can see nice coverage, very nice bright holographic. It does get more holographic after it's fully dried. These always tend to look a little more scattered when they're wet, and then come off a bit more on the linear holographic side after they're fully dried. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. To be fair, it really did look opaque on that first coat. I didn't see any nail line or anything like that sticking out, but the color does get a bit deeper on that second coat. So that is 2 coats of Mylar Dreams. So the next polish is called Paint the Tinseltown Red, and this is the red holographic. This also seems to have those little silver flakies in it, but thinking back, I don't really feel like they stood out much at all on the nail, but you can see them in the bottle. So this one, like the last one, covers really well on that first coat. And I don't know if it's just, I think it's just the holographic mixed into the red jelly base, but it is like shockingly red and bright when I get it on my nails. Also, like the last one, not really a lot of nail line or anything showing, but I do want to build that color up more with the second coat. And I can pick some of those little silver flakies out on my nail, but they're not nearly as obvious as they are to me anyway in the bottle. And this one does cover completely on that second coat. Well, it covers completely on the first coat, but the color gets a little bit deeper here. I'm not a huge fan of red polishes on me. I don't know. I've just never really liked the way that they look. But putting holographic in a red polish just completely changes the game for me because it looks so glowy. I think it's one of the best colors that you can put holographic pigment into. I don't know why I feel that way. It just is so bright and so glowy. I love it. So that is 2 coats of Paint the Tinseltown Red. The next polish is called My Color Wheel is Spinning, and this is a purple holographic. So like the other ones, this one is nicely opaque on that first coat. I do think the color will deepen a bit though with the second. Okay, so this one does cover completely in 2 coats. Well, I mean it covered anyway. The color is, I think, where it needs to be on that second coat. You can see a huge difference there. And again, nice strong holographic on this. That is 2 coats of My Color Wheel is Spinning. Next up we have LED Marquee, and this is the Cobalt Blue holographic. This one also covers pretty well on that first coat. There's no nail line or anything showing, but actually maybe there is a little bit of nail line showing. Yeah, a little bit. Not like it makes a big of a difference because it's still going to cover in 2. But I do feel like it's just a teensy bit more sheer than the other ones have been. Still a nice strong holographic though. And those little silver shimmer particles, little flakies, are in there as well. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. And I don't understand, okay, so at our old house, we were like out in the woods. It was very peaceful, very quiet out there. And now we're in more of a development. There's construction going on. We're by an airport. And I don't understand how anybody that films videos that doesn't live in the woods ever gets any videos filmed. It is so loud out here. And you might not be able to hear any of it, but just like for me, I'm surrounded by loud sounds right now. So that is 2 coats of LED Marquee. This next polish is a teal holographic. This is called Ready, Fête, Go. So this one also covers really well on that first coat. This might be some of the best coverage out of all of them so far. I've been really impressed with how these holographics have gone on and built up. And in case I didn't mention this, those flakies will dry totally smooth that are in there as well. And they still are pretty subtle. I do feel like in the last polish, the blue LED Marquee, they stood out a bit more than I noticed in any of the other colors. I was hoping that this one would be the same, but I don't think it's quite as obvious. So this one definitely covers completely on that second coat. It does get a little bit darker, but I think it's like the least significant difference so far of any of them. This one, I don't think I would do 1 coat on it, but I think if you were really in a hurry and didn't want to deal with it, you could probably get away with 1. So that is 2 coats of Ready, Fête, Go. And the last of the holographics is called Turn Bright at Sunset, and this is a black holographic. And this one covers really well in 1 coat as well. Now I say black holographic loosely. It usually ends up looking more like a very, very dark gray, because once you get that holographic pigment in there, it does change the color a bit. This is another one that I don't think I would do 1 coat of, but I can see where you could get away with 1 coat if you wanted to. Okay, so here is the second coat. It doesn't really change much, maybe a little bit, but I feel better having that second coat on there. I forgot to mention this before, but I really can't see any of those little silver flakies in the bottle or on the nail in this polish, so I'm not sure that they're in there, or I'm just totally missing them. That is 2 coats of Turn Bright After Sunset. I was happy to see that this collection was broken up between like your normal finishes, some holographics, but I was very happy to see that they added some glitters, because big, chunky, bright glitters is not something that I feel like I've seen occasionally, but not super often anymore. There was a period of time where I feel like they were coming out all the time, and now I've been a little deprived. So I was very happy about these. This first one is called You Had Me At Confetti, and this is your rainbow mix of gold, pink, blue, green, and there's even like a few little nude matte glitters in there. And I am swatching all of these over 2 coats of Feeling Frisco. I was going to do them all over a white, and then at the last minute I decided to put them over a nude because I do what I want. So this is not the densest glitter ever. With larger glitters like this, a lot of times you end up having to kind of tap the brush on and spread it around a little bit to avoid getting a ton of base and not a lot of glitter and having a really thick coat. You definitely have to apply this one that way. You just spread it on, you tend to swipe a lot of the glitter off with the extra base, and that way you can kind of fill in some empty spots and try to make it look a little more perfectly random, I guess. This is a chunky glitter, so there will be texture to it and it will be difficult to remove. You'll really have to scrub it off. And of course I also have photos of all of these glitters over this nude base with matte top coat because I can't help myself right now. So that is a 1 coat of You Had Me At Confetti. The next polish is called Cheers to Manny Years, and this has a mix of blue, green, some holographic silver, some pink, and what looks like little tiny pale yellow matte glitters. So now, upon closer inspection, I can't decide if I think that those little tiny glitters are pale yellow, slightly pale orange, or nude like the ones in the last polish. The ones in the last polish were a little bit bigger, so I don't know. This one goes on fairly evenly. It's not too sparse or anything like that, but I do think you still get a better application by doing more dabbing than swiping with it, or I guess a combination of both like I'm doing. And like the last polish, this is going to dry textured. It is going to need top coat to smooth out, and it will be more difficult to remove because glitter just sticks to your nails. I do feel like polishes like this that don't have a lot of, how do I say this, like variety in the size of the glitter are a little bit harder to get that like perfectly random look to them. If I had my preference, I would prefer some slightly larger glitters mixed into this like the previous one, but whatever. It works. So that is 1 coat of Cheers to Manny Years. So the next polish is called Confetti Ready, and this is a mix of mostly pink and purple. There is a mix of holographic and metallic glitter in here. There's a little bit of, I believe, gold and silver mixed in as well, but there's a lot going on. It's kind of hard for me to focus and pick those colors out perfectly. So this one is nicely dense. Because it has those little teeny tiny glitters in there, I don't feel like you really need to dab it or work as much to get it evenly distributed, but if the big glitters not being random enough bothers you, I guess there is a little bit of work to be had, but I don't really think it needs it as much as the previous two. Like every other glitter, it is going to dry textured and it is going to be difficult to remove because glitter. So that is one coat of Confetti Ready. So in my head, I've kind of broken this collection up into 3 separate collections, like the creams, the hollows, and the glitters. Yes, it's all one collection, but like that's just how my brain is working it. So I picked a favorite from each of the 3. I don't know why I'm looking at this one this way, but that's just how it's going. So the one I actually have on my nails today is my color wheel is spinning. I just threw this on really quick because it was nice and opaque and I could do the manicure relatively quickly for a video. But let's say out of the creams, my favorite is obviously going to be Ring in the Blue Year. This is a really, really good cobalt blue shade. I always like seeing those, even though I probably have 50 dupes of that polish. Mylar Dreams is going to be my favorite out of the holographics. It was really close between this one and Paint the Tinseltown Red, just because I really like how bright and glowy this red holographic was, but I mean, the pink had the same effect. And if I had to pick between the two, I'm probably going to lean towards pink. And as much as I love a rainbow glitter, You Had Me At Confetti just it wasn't rainbowy enough for me to like it more than I liked Confetti Ready. This kind of reminded me of, I mean, it doesn't look anything like OPI's Teenage Dream, but in my head, it's like a stepped up, like fancier version of Teenage Dream. My first thought when I looked at this was that it reminded me of like a Teenage Dream 2.0, if such a thing existed. So really like this one. So that is the OPI Celebration collection for holiday 2021. Again, I got those at polishpick.com, but they are an Ulta. I'm blanking. Have I been out of it for so long that I only know of 2 places to get OPI? They should be anywhere that usually carries new OPI collections. How about that? I know they're at Ulta and I got them from Polish Pick. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this one and I will talk to you later. Bye.